So in Farming Simulator 25, you don't just go and plant your crops, go and harvest them, sell them, and that's it. You can also purchase production chains, and what these are going to do is let you basically use one product to make another. So an example would be to turn your basic canola into canola oil. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the oil mill and figuring out if it's actually worth buying for your farm, or even just purchasing the production chain on the map in general. So on my farm, I have the small oil mill and the big one, and pretty much the only difference is obviously the price, but you're going to have a much bigger output in the big one as to what you are the small. I believe it's a bang on 10 times. So if we go to the factories, we go all the way to the bottom, and we find the little oil mill, that is going to cost £36,000 to put on your farm. However, the big oil mill, if you're going to buy that, is going to cost, wherever it has gone, is going to cost you £240,000. So it's quite a big investment to get the big one. It's still a decent sized investment to get the small one. And what you're going to be able to do in these is, if we go to the production chains that I own, I've got both the big and the small. You'll see that in the small one, we get 48 cycles per month for canola oil. We get 480 in the big one. And it works the exact same way with all the others. You've got 480 and 240 cycles. So basically what this does is you go and, on your fields, you go and harvest your canola. Then what you do is you bring your canola in a trailer over to the oil mill. And during the month, it's going to turn that canola into canola oil. And what I've done is I've gone through all of the products in the oil mill besides the rice ones. So I've calculated the canola, the olive, and the sunflower, because I don't think the rice one's going to make too much of a difference compared to the other three. And not only that, especially when it comes to your standard rice, you have to have an entirely different field setup. So exactly how these work is, if we jump into this trailer, they've both got canola sat in the back of them. But if we jump into this tractor with the trailer on the back, you're going to see when you drive over this little grated area, we can start overloading, and that's going to tip our canola into the oil mill, and then they can start work. So what we'd have to do from here is, if we jump out and we run round to the other side of the building, there's going to be an interaction point where we can manage the production point. So we come into this menu, and now you'll see that we've got nearly 14,000 litres of canola. So what we do is we click on this to make sure it's highlighted in green, and then what we would do is press enter, we activate it, and now it starts running. So it's going to cost £60 a month to run this, which is very, very cheap. I've not included that cost in my calculations. I've also not included the cost of machinery, because there's so many different combinations of machinery you can use. So you have to bear that in mind. This is literally how much you're going to pay for the building, and then how much you would get if you're going to, say for an example, sell the canola against selling the canola oil. How much profit can you make just from the product, and is it worth buying the buildings because of it? And I don't know what happened with the big one. I'm going to take this, I'm going to empty this one as well. If I come to this production point, it's saying for some reason in the small one we've got 13,965, in the big one we've got 109,000 canola. I definitely did not put that much in. I've got no idea what's going on with that. But if I empty this one, if I start dumping it, we're supposed to get roughly another 12,500 canola. And let's see what these production points are telling us we've now got in there. So that's gone up to 26,574. That's somehow gone up to 112,974. So I don't understand how that bit works. But what you're going to do is you're going to activate the product. So we've got canola oil running now. And you have three choices with the output mode. You can have it on storing, where it says storing underneath here. And what that's going to do is going to save all of the canola oil in the actual factory. And when you get to 1,000 litres, it's going to put a pallet outside. And then what you'll do with that pallet is you'll then go and transport it to a selling place and get your money for it. Then your next option is selling. And what it's going to do is periodically sell the stuff instead of saving it up. However, you are going to lose a little bit of money from that. I think it's around 20% or something like that. You're going to lose a little bit of money that way because you are not doing the transporting. You've obviously got to pay manual labour, transporting fees and all that sort of stuff. And then the final one is distributing. Any production chains that need the stuff around the map, it's going to distribute it to those. So make sure this is set on storing. so that you can make the absolute most money from it if you're going to buy any of these meals or anything. And what we're going to do is we are going to go and sleep and see what these do in the space of, it's going to be roughly 24 hours in game. So we are now in December. If we come back over to the production point, you are going to see that we've got 798 litres. However, if we come around here, you'll see that we have our pallets. And if I bring one over to this field, you'll see that we've got 1,000 litres of canola oil in this pallet. So it's produced the 480 cycles, the 4,800 litres of canola oil, because it's turning 20 litres of canola into 10 litres of canola oil. So 480 cycles is going to be 4,800 litres. So these marked areas that don't have any icons, like you've got the sort of wrench icon there. Round here, you're going to have the trailer icon. The ones that have the marked area with no icon is going to be where your pallets are going to be stored. This one I never turned on, but they should store somewhere. Like the small mills, for some reason, don't have that marked area with no icon on it. So with my calculations, when it comes to canola oil, and these are all based on a full cycle for an entire month, so like 480 cycles per month, this is based on those 480 cycles. So with canola oil, you're going to be putting in 20 lots of canola. It's going to have 480 cycles, which are going to be 9,600 litres of canola. And if we go to the price charts and we go all the way up to canola, you are going to see that it sells at a maximum of 2,153. For some reason, that has changed because it was 2,127 when I did my calculations. And this is on easy economy mode. But at a maximum price of 2,127, if you sold it in the right month, at 9,600 litres, you're going to get £20,419. However, because we put 20 lots of canola in and we get 10 lots of canola oil, if we go to the canola oil, you're going to see it's got 5,901. When I calculated it, like back in, I can't even remember what month we're in now. We're in December. So back in November, it said that the highest price was going to be 5,835. So £5,835 for the 4,800 litres of canola oil we would get is going to be £28,008. So a full month, a full 480 cycles. The difference between selling the canola and then selling the canola oil that the mill's going to make is going to be £7,588. And then when I did my calculations for the olive oil, the difference is going to be £7,603 for a full cycle. A full month's worth of doing the cycles. And then lastly, with my calculations for the sunflower oil, your difference is going to be £7,588. So they're all roughly like this. Sunflower oil and canola oil were exactly the same amount. So with a profit difference of £7,603, olive oil is going to be your most profitable, but just by a little bit. And then with that, you've got to think the oil mill has just cost £240,000 to buy. So if you take your highest profit, if you just do olive oil, and olives are going to work a little bit different. If you go back to the production chain, you will see you need 25 olives per 10 olive oil. And not only that, it only does 240 cycles per month. But with the olive oil being the most profitable, if you was just doing that after a full year, at the time of my calculation, it's going to be a £91,238 profit. So in order to pay back the money you spent buying the mill, which was $240,000, you are going to have to wait for a little over 31.5 months. So you're talking a little over 2.5 years just to pay back the cost out of your profit, out of the difference between just selling canola to selling canola oil or olives and olive oil. That difference there is going to take you over 2.5 years to make the money back for what you've spent on the mill. So at first, if you are buying the mill, it's obviously going to be a huge setback for at least a couple of years. But once you've paid that money back, you've made all the money that you spent on machinery and the mill and everything like that, it's definitely worth it. So I would say this is worth buying if you are in your farm for the long haul. If you're planning to do a 5 or a 10-year farming adventure. But if you're expecting to make quick money from one of these mills, it's definitely not worth it. even the £36,000 one, I've based all of my calculations off the big one. Even the small one only costing 36 grand, you're going to be producing 10 times less. So I think this mill is going to be nice to have over a few years. It's going to have paid itself off sort of thing. And then you're going to have a nice steady income. So if some of your crops aren't going as well as they should be or something like that, then you're going to be able to make like a little bit of money back on some of your other losses maybe. So yeah, I would only buy a mill if you are in it for the long haul, because these are not going to make your money quick, and they're not going to make a lot either. So that is exactly how the oil mill works in Farming Simulator 25, and also if I believe it's worth buying. And what we are going to do is leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about this game in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out. Thank you for watching.